G'day guys, welcome back to SuperCoach with DR and welcome to the Round 5 NBL SuperCoach review. Hope you all had a cracking week. 350 for me. Now, I knew this was going to be a below par score because I only had the two players on the double, PJC and Menenga, who I bought in last week, but it's still disappointing. And a season rank of 1530, it's okay for someone that doesn't know too much about the game, but at the same time, I've been frustrated because I've just been hovering around the mark. I'll show you my history. I'll just change screens for a sec. So as you can see here in the overall position, started off 1296, wasn't too bad. Remember, all teams are on singles there, but then balloons out to almost 2K, around 1500, 1400, then just up to 1500 again. So I've just been hovering, particularly last 3 weeks. But if you look, 1296 to 1530, it's a matter of 200 to 300 spots for the season. And I just want to get inside that top 1,000. That's my goal, at least get inside the top 1,000 for that overall position at some stage during the season. And I think this week, my team's already set up pretty well, but I know that so many other teams are at the same time. So it's still tough to get an advantage, even if you think that you've planned by yourself. So we'll go through the side, show you what it's looking like, and then work out what I'm going to do for my trades, because there are so many options this week, it's not funny. Now, better start off with my trades from last week. So I did bring in Menenga and PJC. It was Galloway out for Menenga. Galloway, it was, again, a bit of buyer's remorse, and a bit of buyer's remorse with Menenga, to be quite honest, as well, because I was looking at Mooney in that guard spot over KD, but it still worked out in the end because 43 points on a single was nice, I suppose. And PJC came in for Jalen Adams. And again, it was going to be KD out, but just looking at Adams' break even, and really thinking about it carefully, I thought, look, the fact that he's still possibly under a slight injury cloud, he may get limited minutes. I think his minutes are okay in the end, but obviously a little bit rusty. And I think he lost around 40K. That was just too much for me to risk. So end up keeping on to Davis, and that was a fantastic decision in the end. And this week, do you go to someone like an Adams? I will talk about that in the trades. But quickly, Cooks with another 40, fantastic. Oliver, I am over owning this bloke because 10 points. So look, after the first couple of rounds, we were wrapped and we're thinking, yes, it's fantastic. But lately, I've just completely lost the faith. And I think his break even suggests, even though he's on a double, that it may be time to move him on. So not great from him. Lepepe, look, 13, we would have taken this every day of the week in round one. And look, if he had got a 13 average, we're thinking, yeah, this is pretty good. But the fact that he did have a couple of doubles and then followed this up with the 13 wasn't fantastic. But I think he went off, spent a little bit of time off the court early in the game, which didn't help him, and maybe that shuffled a few rotations. So a little bit unlucky there, but still all good. I'm holding him at least for this week anyway. Olbrich with a 26. Don't know where this came from, but very, very happy because he actually made a little bit of cash. Do you hold him given the fact he's got his double? You absolutely could. We'll see what happens in regards to my trades. Menenga, as I said, disappointing for a 32. Low, I'm really happy that I've held on to this bloke. Had a really nice couple of weeks and then coming on to the 3 doubles in a row. So I'll play him on field potentially, or even leave him there on the bench, depending on what my trades are. PJC, fantastic with an 85. Brilliant. You had to have the captain on him. You had to trade him in. That was the most obvious move I think we've had all year. KD, as I said, with a 43. Time is perfectly for me because I know lots of other people that traded him out, maybe kept on to someone like an Adams, would be regretting it a little bit because I think he went close to doubling his score and obviously didn't lose near as much cash. It might have been 5K, I think, from memory. So all good for there. Hickey, another 27. So this bloke's fired up again, now sitting at almost 190K, has a double this week. So a very, very easy hold. Wrap to own him. And then Benny Henschel. So this is actually worked out fantastically well for Henschel owners that Cotton's actually out. So I don't like the fact that Bryce is injured. They've got doubles. They've got 5 in a row coming up after this week. So I definitely planned on getting him in at some stage, possibly early stage of those 5 doubles, but we'll just have to wait and see. And this leads me to my trades now. And the theme for me, now there's a few themes going into this week. The first one is obviously looking to get as many players on the doubles. If possible, looking to get some players on the 3 doubles in a row. That's obviously that's Melbourne, that's Sem. I'm looking at making some money as well. And the other big theme for this week, I think, is the injuries that we're faced with in SuperCoach. It makes so many other players, in my opinion anyway, more relevant to the game. So let's talk about who we might look to trade out. Firstly, we've got double, 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 double. KD's on the single, so I think he definitely has to go even after a great performance last week. Double, 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 and then Benny Henschel's got the single. Now, Henschel may look like a pretty easy trade out here, but the thing is, with Cotton out, surely his minutes have to go up. And we've seen a decent score from him last week comparative to the couple of weeks before that. So I'm not actually keen on trading out Henschel, given the fact that Bryce is out, and after this week, he's got 5 doubles in a row. So even if he loses a bit of coin, that's all good. I'll just keep him on the bench for the doubles. So I'm pretty sure I'm just going to hold on to Benny Henschel. So that leaves me with only one player on the single. So you then think, well, who else do we need to get out or want to get out? And who else do we actually want to get in? So we look at someone like an Oliver here with a break even of 60. I just don't think that he's going to go anywhere near that break even of 60. And to be honest, to get to a 49, I don't know how realistic that's going to be with his minutes and role at the moment. So things just aren't as they were in the first couple of rounds. So I'm pretty happy to move someone like an Oliver on. So with Davis, if I trade him out along with Oliver, I've got 605k to play with. Do I use a boost? Well, that's a big question. So there's a few different options. So if we start, we'll start at the guard spot, and I'll actually filter by teams because I'm not getting anyone that's coming on the single. So we've got Cairns on the double. Look, Illawarra are, but after this week, they don't have a few doubles for a while, so I'm not really going to look there. Cairns, you could argue as well, I probably shouldn't look at either. All right, so we'll go New Zealand. Perth, I'm just going to skip for now. I could look at someone like a Perth, but I think with my plans, I'll be able to easily trade a couple of good ones in. Sam and Sydney. So Adelaide, no, Cairns, Illawarra. I know they're on a double, but all right, so they're probably the teams I'm going to be looking at. So the first option here is to go back to Adams. You think, well, he got decent minutes last match, possibly a little bit rusty, but he's an absolute star of the comp, MVP winner, and he's just too good to be on a low run. 335k, it's an absolute steal for him. I've already been burnt by him for the 1 week, not 2 though. He's down, what, over 70k? And this is just after, what, 2 weeks, down 70k in 2 weeks. So he's certainly an option there. You've then got this man here, Matthew Dellavedova. Now, what I like about Delly is the fact that this man is on three doubles in a row. Illy, I think he's out for at least this week. Not sure about the next couple after that, but that's a bit of a bonus. I think he's pretty consistent when he gets the minutes. Remember, he had that game where he had lower minutes when he was coming back after the birth of his child. The issue with Daly, I think, is probably his ceiling. I don't think he's got a fantastic ceiling, but I think he should be good enough to potentially just sit there for 3 weeks at around 300k. So Daly is certainly an option for me, and I like the fact that I'll be getting a Melbourne player in. Walton Jr. has done a hammy. Now, I think he's going to be at, now please, please, please don't quote me. I think it's around 3 weeks. Now, I don't know if they quoted as 3 matches or 3 weeks. Please don't quote me on that. But I've heard that or read that somewhere. Whether or not it's fact or fiction, I'm not too sure. So definitely not him. But with Walton Jr. out, this actually affects other people's jobs and other people's scoring potential, namely a Mr. Nathan Sobey, which we'll talk about in a sec. Now, Illy, I think, is out. We just talked about him. That helps someone like a Clark, someone like a Daly. I just don't really have the faith in Clark. I'd prefer Daly over him. Goulding, no way. Then we come to Sobey. So 32 points and a season average of 20.2. Now, is this just coincidence that he has a fantastic scoring game once Walton Jr. goes down early? I don't think so. I think that he needs to step up. This man needs to step up. And guess what? He's actually got the talent. Things haven't been working. But at 256k, I think this could potentially be an absolute bargain. It then gives me 349k to go someone, for example, like your White. So I don't mind Sobey as a pick. I think he's a really, really sneaky option. The other bloke you've got here is Matt Mooney, 297K. Now, he was in my plans last week for a while. I thought, look, I'll just get rid of the 2 guards and just bring in 2 fresh ones from New Zealand with that 3-game run. Late to the party there, but I still think that he provides some pretty good value. The issue that you'll see here, though, is that 1, 2, 3 New Zealand players and at least 1, 2 Sydney players for now. So that's 5 players who are all ending their doubles at the same time. I'm actually pretty keen to balance this team up a little bit and try to get, for example, you say 2 Sydney, 2 New Zealand, maybe 2 Sam and 2 Melbourne. I think that would be a really nice mix because you've still got those 2 teams in Sam and Melbourne who would have the extra double over your Sydney, New Zealand. And that's when you could actually invest in your Perth players when Sydney and New Zealand come off your doubles. And knowing that you've already got 4 sitting there with that double already, that would be really, really nice. So that's something that I'm really looking at. And that's something that's putting me off getting an extra New Zealand player here. You could look at someone like a Darling at some really nice value too. And if you're boosting, I think that someone like a Darling may even make sense just to free up that cash that you may need to bring in a big dog. So I think at the moment I may actually be skipping on Mooney. I shouldn't be looking at total points here, should I? I should be looking at average. Do I miss anyone? Daly, Mooney? No. Okay. Camp? No. Tyler Robertson? No. Mojave King? So he could be an option, but again, New Zealand. This is someone that I am extremely keen on. Now, on field, I'm not a huge fan of, but to have Glover sitting there next to Hickey will have his X back. You know, Hickey's been sitting there for the whole year. I started with Glover, gave him the boot really, really early on. But I think, again, and this is relating to injury as well with Bolton Jr., I think that both Sobey and Glover really benefit from this injury, short term anyway. And just say if it's 3 weeks, they've got 3 weeks of doubles. Don't quote me, please, again, don't quote me. But if that's the case, then I really like the thought of having Glover just sitting there on the bench, making money, and hopefully, I'm not saying it's going to be scoring 30 each week, but even if, with those 20 type scores, if you can push it up to a 30, so 15 a game, I'll take that every day of the week. So I'm actually a big fan of getting Glover into the side. However, I think that it will probably require a boost to do so because I really want to get 2 big dogs in. Well, how big can I go? If you say big dog's 400, then you've got 200 odd K, but 2 premiums here on field with a nice upcoming run of doubles. So you keep on looking down, Foxwell, someone that you could go really cheap if you need more money than, say, a Glover. Yeah, Flynn Cameron, McCarron, Benny Air, disappointing season from him. The 4 from him. All right, so there's no one else really that you're looking to go there. If I change and go to the forwards for a sec, then there's someone that really stands out here, and that's Matt Hurt. And then you've also got Jack White. Wish I had held on to White, but circumstances. So who do I like better out of Hurt and White? They've both got the upcoming run of doubles. They've got a 5-round average that's close to being identical, 42, 43. The 3-round average actually goes in White's favour, even though White had a pretty disappointing game last week with the 19 compared to Hurt's 32. If you look at the season average, though, 35.2, 31.1, a total of 115K made and around 90K for Hurt. I think Hurt's got the friendlier break even though this week. So Hurt is certainly more of the pot option because I know more people already own Jack White, but I really, really like Matt Hurt. And do you know what? I'm actually going to, I think, almost lock this bloke in. He's really the guy that I'm big on this week. And unlike other seasons, it's really those big boys that we're looking to really get in because the guards have been slightly disappointing and not overly consistent, I think. So what do you do now? It still gives me the option of going someone like a King, someone like a Glover. But who do I really want in this guard spot? Now, I talked about team balance before, about ideally having your 2 Melbourne, your 2 Sem, if possible. I've now got 1 Sem, 1 Melbourne. So with my last trade here, it's either going to be a Sem or a Melbourne player. I just don't think that I've got anywhere near enough to make any sort of a play. This is when old mate boost comes into it. So, am I silly for using a boost now? Because I've got so many players on the double. I'm already trading out one player on the double here. Am I silly for using a boost? Well, let's just see what I can actually do with it and see if I can get to not the ideal team, but the ideal balance that I'm looking for. So, Henschel I want to keep with Cotton. I'm preparing for Perth. Hickey with that break even, I just think that he beats that in current form, and I want to keep on to one Illawarra player this week. Well, I have to anyway, with what I'm already doing there. There's no way I'm trading out any of these guys, just got hurt. What are we looking at here? So break in with 37 to 40. Now, I'm still backing in my boy, my favourite player in the comp, pretty much. So it's Olbridge. Now, the frustrating thing is here, I've held him. He did make a little bit of money last week, but he's now on a double. Is this a waste? It's just, I don't feel that I can do much with 238 unless I can't get Sobey, can I? No, I couldn't. So I couldn't even get Sobey there. All right. The bloke I really want here, as I said, to pair back with Hickey is Glover. I think, I'm not going to say he's a must-have. He's certainly not a must-have. But I just think with his 3 doubles coming up, potentially more minutes, a friendlier role due to the fact that Walton Jr. is out, I think he's too good to pass up. Now, that means that I've got the 3 Sem there. I could do it. New coach. I'm a little bit nervous about that. Do I potentially look back at that Melbourne idea? 4.4%. It's certainly the pot option. Do you look at the upside of a Sobey, or do you look at the fact that potentially Delhi is a safer option? Is this meant to be like with 1,400 left in the bank? So what I'm doing here is I'm getting rid of Olbridge, who's really only got the double this week, has been fairly disappointing, and then he's coming up to a run of singles. Davis is absolutely gone because you have to with that. I think the price on his head doesn't have any doubles coming up. And Oliver, disappointing. Don't really care he's on the double. I treat him more as a single player anyway if I had him. So definitely gone. And I'm happy enough to do this. I also keep that DPP there. So at least one of the centre forwards. I'm getting Glover. Really, really nice cash gen. 3 doubles in a row. And then Daly has those 3 doubles. Illy's out, I think, for now. So these 2 are definitely benefiting from injuries. Hurt, I don't think really that changes anything. So let's just see if I can complete those trades. And again, using a boost. Like being greedy. Well, the thing is, if I showed you my overall ranks, my history this season before, and I'm just hovering. So you know what? It's time. You know, the BBL's coming up as well. I'll be doing a fair bit of research for that. I won't be spending as much time on the NBL. So do you know what? Let's just at least give it a crack. Try to get inside that top 1,000 at some stage. And I think if I'm ever going to do it, it's going to be in the next 2-3 weeks. I'm hoping anyway. So this week, we've got Cooks on the double, Hurt on the double, Menenga is PJC, and Daly. Double, 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 and the single. So 9 players on the double. I really like that. Now, to be honest, and as I mentioned before, I'm really glad I kept Roblo. I'm going to get Roblo on field, I think, over Menenga. I'm more comfortable with that. These other decisions are extremely easy. So, well, really, I could play any one of these guys on. So it's not Henschel. It's Lepepe, Menenga, or Low, and I can do this using DPP with Hurt. I just feel that Low is in better form. I've really liked his last couple of weeks, I think 25, 27 odd. So if he can replicate that, go close to a 50 here, or even that 40, I'm pretty happy with. The projections suggest that this is the best setup anyway. So moving forward, I've got 2 doubles in a row, 3 in a row, 3 in a row, 3 in a row, 2 in a row, 2, 2, 1, 3, none but 5 coming up. Next week, this is a question. What do I do next week? Because everyone apart from Hickey, I believe, will be in a double. So is it Hickey just down to a moneymaker? I won't have enough money to go like a Webster. Could you maybe go even... I don't think Pepper's looking great at the moment, but maybe look at what happens with Perth and break-evens, possibly look to go to a Perth player, or just completely play the break-even game, go to someone as a one-week rental that is projected to make some good coin, and then just use that money to then make a move the next week. Because after next week, 1, 2, 3, 4... we'll have the 2 singles at least in a row. So it's pretty easy. Cooks to Doolittle, one of these blokes potentially to a Webster, a Pinder, Windler, Cotton, depending on what happens with his injury. So I just feel that by making this boost this week and getting in 3 players that have the 3 in a row, it doesn't put as much pressure on me by having these 4 blokes here that will then start to have a bit of a single run. Yeah, I know New Zealand have just the 2 singles and then a massive run of doubles. So Menenga probably stays. PJC may go for a couple of weeks, and then you got to get him in straight away, in my opinion. So I think I'm looking okay-ish moving forward. It's just that I'll only have the 1 boost left. But I'm getting impatient. It's not my... although I've really enjoyed NBL, it's certainly not my baby. AFL is that. And so I can take this a little bit less seriously and just go bang with another boost. And I'm okay with that, all part of the experience. So that's most likely my plans, I think. I know I've been banging on again for this video. 29 trades, yeah. So 1 boost, 1,400 left. So I've got bugger all in the salary. But in saying that, I've got Cooks, who's 400 plus, PJC, who's getting close to 450, 300. Hopefully Hurt can make some more money, but 350 plus. A couple of good money makers here. Yeah, I think I'm looking okay for now. Certainly not up there with the big dogs, but look, I'm involved in a couple of leagues. Like, one's the NBL Podmasters, and I'm actually in front. This is overall season rankings of so many blokes that I respect, and I know for a fact are much better at the game than me. So far from the top am I, but I think there's only about 140 points between myself and the top of the NBL Podmasters. So who knows what can happen. If you have a lucky week or an unlucky week with a captain, it can mean the world in this game, particularly when you've only got 5 players on field. Unlike with the AFL, completely different with your 22 on field. You can cop maybe a low score from a player, where in this game, you really can't, particularly if it's a pod for you. So the only discussion left is captains. So you've got 3 options here for me, and it's Cooks, Hurt, and PJC. Now let's have a look at matchups, because PJC just seems like the auto captain here. Hurt, so he's actually got New Zealand and then Illawarra. So Illawarra, tougher type matchup. Rolling days. Yeah, okay. Cooks has Perth and then New Zealand. So they both got New Zealand. It's Perth versus Illawarra. And PJC plays both of them. All right, so Sem, he should have a bit of a field day, you'd think, wouldn't you? And then, Quoll. Quoll's a tagger. We talked about in the SuperCoach Hub, who are the taggers, and we pretty much got Illy and Quoll that we know are going to tag each week. So that's not great. I've even thought about just avoiding players that are on this tag here. So I don't love that, but I really like the first. I really like the first matchup. Cooks, Perth. This is tough. So he's projected to go 70, projected to go 81, break even 74. Do you know what? I'm going to have a look at what the crowd's going with, particularly top 10, 5, 1%. I'm assuming it's going to be PJC. And then I'll make a decision whether or not I just want to go safer with the crowd or just go something completely different and go for a pod captain as some sort of way to try to move up the ranks and maybe take a bit of a risk. So that's what I'm going to roll with for now. I'm just going to leave it on PJC, stay safe. And I think Cooks is the bloke I would go next as a captain over Hurt. So it's going to be one of PJC or Cooks. Hurt, really glad to have. Yep, easy on field here. Beautiful. So that is it for the video, guys. Thank you very much. If you did manage to stick around for that, check out all the other content out there. Remember, this is more of a SuperCoach journey. You're just following with me. I'm not really one to go for when it comes to advice about this game. I really want to stress that. It's more the AFL that I can try my best to give you some advice with. I'm just having a bit of fun doing this. So make sure that you do check out the best of the best. And I'm talking blokes like Ferns and the guys from the SuperCoach Hub. Some wonderful content out there. So all the best of luck for this week. Make sure that you're focusing on who's injured, the roles of players, the switching of those roles, trying to bank a bit of coin if you can, or make a little bit of money if you can. Focus on the break-even game. And also look at that fixture. Fixture really is king in this game, but you can't get caught too far behind in the money game either. Very much a balancing game, and I've really enjoyed playing this. So all the best, guys. Have an awesome week. I'll see you soon in the next one. Cheers. Bye.